Hi, I'm Barb Cooper and this is HelpMySquashGame.com. I'm so thrilled you made it to this TV show. This has been a lifetime dream of mine. I've been involved in squash since I was 19 years old. I played for England for 14 years, was the national coach there for 8. Then I came to Canada, my new adopted country, and when I got my citizenship, I played for Canada and was privileged enough to be the national women's coach of the Canadian team as well. And in that time, I've actually had an extraordinary life, and it's all through squash. And now what I wanted to be able to do was give back to the game I love, and I'm using this medium because I went and found the UIBC Ultimate Internet Bootcamp for internet. And I got trained on how to use internet as a vehicle to reach people. And now I can use that, and I use the skills that Alex Mendosian and Andrew Locke have actually given me with T. Harv Eker, the guy who wrote The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And here we are. What a great day. This is show number 1. So the first thing I wanted to do was share with you a little bit of stuff on equipment. And I know you will go into a shop and people will say, yes, buy this racket or that. But I figured it might be useful for you to understand actually the differences in some of the rackets. So I brought a couple with me. And this is the newest one from Black Knight. It's called the Galaxy. And if you read on the inside of the frame, it will give you most of the technical specs that you need to know for this racket. It's got this red string, which is a power nick. It's an 18 gauge string. That means 18 is thin. As it gets to 16 and 12, it gets thicker. 18 will mean that it will actually hold its tension better. The feel will feel better. When you look at the racket itself, this racket's unique. It's produced through a thermal core process. So what they do when they make this racket is they take the graphite and they lay it into a mold, and the graphite's in fibers. Well, typically you would get it cured in a kiln. But this racket, not only does it get cured in the kiln, but it has a tube on the inside of the handle, and they blow hot, superheated air through the whole of the frame. So that means this racket has been super cured on the inside and the outside, which makes it a much more consistent curing process. The other thing that's interesting, Black Knight's so committed to control and making sure that they actually give you a really, really good product. They check this racket and they have it what they call the power of 6. So this racket gets checked randomly 6 times through its process. So it makes sure that the graphite is actually even. It makes sure that there are no cracks in it. It makes sure that it's been uniformly cured. So when you're buying this racket, you know that you're getting a quality product. Interesting. I've used another Black Knight racket. It's called the Magnum, and I've loved this racket for years. But now that I'm moving on to this Galaxy, I'm finding that this one works very, very well for me for both singles and doubles. It's an ideal racket for that. Its stiffness is about 91 on the scale, and you can read all of this inside. And that means that when you play with it, you will feel the ball on your strings. Whatever, it's like a graphite golf shaft. The stiffer it is, the more you get on the shot. The problem with that is, of course, wherever you hit it, it's going to go there too. But you can always tell the stiffness of a racket if you hold it, hold the throat, hold the head. Now pull it against yourself and you'll see whether the racket gives. If you were to try an aluminum racket, you'd find it would really wow. That's not so useful for playing. It doesn't have the same feel, and if you're hitting a ball, you're not getting quite the same instant contact. Lastly, with this racket, and this is one of the reasons I like it, it's headlight. So if you look at the weight, it says 140 grams, but actually its swing weight is 135, so it gets lighter as you swing it. And you can find that on the racket. The other cool thing about this one is, can you see this little yellow galaxy? It looks like a Star Wars spaceship? Well, actually, that's a built-in vibration control. It goes right the way through the racket. So that dampens everything. So, cool racket. It's called the Galaxy from Black Knight. I love it. Plays brilliantly. Try it out. Your pro shop should lend you one. And if you ever want to buy a racket, my suggestion to you is go to a pro shop in your club and ask if you can demonstrate that racket. You really want to try it before you buy it. And the other tip I can give you on rackets is when you pick it up and you hit the first 5 balls, if you like it, keep it. If you don't like the feel on the first 5 balls, please put it to one side. What happens with so many people is they convince themselves because they like the price. And truthfully, what you really want to do is buy a racket that's going to serve you for a good period of time. And most rackets will last a year, 2 years. Fortunately, it's not like tennis, right? Here, we're eventually going to break it, so we have an excuse to buy a new one. So never feel worried about the racket that you discard. Always pick up a racket and enjoy hitting with it, and that's the one that's going to serve you well. Okay, now let's go on, and what I want to deal with now is a mental skill. And when we're talking about mental skills, one of the biggest things I find that squash players aren't able to do is they're not able to, once they've started to lose their focus, they're not able to bring it back quickly. So I'm going to give you a very quick tool to be able to bring back your focus very quickly. And it's just learning to take a breath. I'm actually asking you to breathe. So I'm going to take you through that right now. I'd like you to just stand or sit, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to ask you to take one breath and be aware of what's going on. Feel your chest rise. Feel your chest fall. And practice that. Maybe 3 centering breaths when you make a mistake in a drill. That's going to be the quickest way to bring yourself back into focus. And the other thing I would recommend is, please don't punish yourself for losing focus. Everybody does. The real trick is recognizing it and bringing yourself back. So bring yourself back with that centering breath. Just feel your chest rise. Feel it fall. Relax your shoulders, and then you can get ready for the next point. So, I've got one last thing on the show, and this is going to be here every single time we do these shows, so I'd love you to write in to HelpMySquashGame.com and give me any of your thoughts, and I'd be happy to help you out with any of the questions. And I have a question from Bruce, and Bruce asks, when should I stretch and how? Well, I think there's an awful lot of stuff that's going on about stretching, but one of the best things I can tell you is this. Get a bit warm before you stretch, before you play, and most of the time you want to make it ballistic. In other words, your arms and legs want to be swinging as you stretch, because that's what you're readying yourself for in the match. And then at the end of the match, to cool down, take a much longer stretch and hold most of them for about 30 seconds. No bouncing, just hold them for 30 seconds. Well done. And I hope that helps you. This is Barb Cooper from HelpMySquashGame.com. Love to hear your comments. Signing off.